Hello, you're very welcome. You're here with Anne Walsh. I'm here letting people in left, right and centre for this session on Excel charts, which I'm going to do in 20 minutes. I have a timer here with me, all right, because I do like to start on time and finish on time. Right? The chat has been disabled because there's a lot of people here and also more signed up for than I actually expected, which is great. Okay, but I just want to kind of get stuck in and I want to make sure we just, hit what I need to hit in the time that we have left. Right. So it will be recorded, so just bear all that in mind. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to start, all right, with my share screen. Bear with me a second. Okay, so great stuff. Here we are. And we're going to look at 20 minutes of what I call Excel goodness. So I'm running 4 of these at the moment. All right, this is the first one. Okay. And this first one is just on charts. Simply because a lot of people really like charts. It's things like, oh, it's lovely, it's bright, it's shiny, and so on. Not my favorite thing in Excel, but always a good point to start from. All right, so let's move on then. A little bit about who I am. Okay, this will be very short and sweet, as I say, like a donkey's gallop, West of Ireland. I live in the West of Ireland, as I like to say, next stop Newfoundland. My website is theexcelexpert.com. Okay. I've been a freelance trainer since the mid-90s. As I like to say to people, at this point, I'm probably unemployable, right? Which is probably just as well, really, right? I'm also an author. I've written Your Excel Survival Kit, Guide to Surviving and Thriving in an Excel World. The second edition will soon be with you all, hopefully. That is the plan at the moment, right? I have also written some other books for Bookboon. Okay, one is called Create Great Reports in Excel. Another one is called Get and Transform Data, about one of my favorite features in Excel called Power Query. Right, create great reports in Word, and other things that there's also a couple of other books on the way to it as well. Right. I also want to say that I love movies, puns, and crime fiction, not necessarily in that order. I'm married with one son who is a software engineer, and where would he get that from? He actually does get that from his mother. So people like to blame your mother for everything. He can really blame his mother for that, right? Because his father is not a big fan of the whole technology scene, which is fine. So let's look at what we're going to cover today. Right. I'm looking at my swizzy, swishy PowerPoint presentations. What are you going to learn? The importance of setting up your data correctly. Okay, that is the key thing that's usually forgotten when people set up charts. If you set up your data correctly, a lot of the problems that people have with charts will be solved. Secondly, I'm going to suggest that you let Excel suggest the chart to you. Normally, when you go to a restaurant, you actually just let the, you often maybe say to the waiter or the wait person, what's good here, right? And he or she will suggest something. Let Excel do the same thing for you. And the third thing I want to mention is that a pie chart is not the answer to everything. Right? Everybody loves a pie chart, and they look at your data and they say wistfully, if only I could have it in a pie chart. You can only do that for certain kinds of data. So just to kind of bear that in mind, it's not the answer to everything. Let's look at the next things. Some other stuff that I just want to mention as well. Yes, it will be recorded and sent out afterwards, all right, with the file that I'm going to be using. I have 3 upcoming snacks, details later on, and there'll also be details in the email with the recording. Okay. There's no chat facility. If you need to ask a question afterwards, maybe just drop me an email if you need to do. I simply don't have the capacity today to kind of answer all the questions that might be in the chat. Right. So now that all that is done, right, let us go on to the actual, song and dance of the whole thing. Right. So first of all, charts. People love charts. Right? I'm not saying that any of you will be crying at the end of this, right? But that is a lot of the reaction of a lot of people when they look at charts. It's like, which one? How many? How do I decide? Right? So let us kind of have a look at this. Okay. So charts, which is what today is all about. This 20 minutes of Excel goodness. 2 key things. First one is you need to go all Judge Judy. All right. Okay. So what do I mean by going Judge Judy? Okay. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you all, those of you who come in. All right, lovely. Okay. You need to go Judge Judy, the data, all the data, and nothing but the data, help me God, all right? And those of you who have ever seen Judge Judy on Afternoon know that she kind of takes no prisoners, right? So let's just kind of, here she is, all right? So Judge Judy Shineland, who makes mega bucks for what she does, all right, is the kind of like, I wouldn't say she's my inspiration, but she's going to be the idea of when you do the data, you want the data, all the data, nothing but the data, which is what we're going to cover when we go through the next bit. The second key thing that I really want to tell you is let Excel recommend a chart to you. The recommendations that Excel gives you are based on thousands of users' data. It will look at your data and say, here's a few, try these ones, right? And go with that first. Those of you that are more experienced can say, I know what I like already, I'll have something else. If you're not too used to charts, let Excel do the heavy lifting for you, okay? And now let's see what that looks like, in real life, real judges, real cases, real people, maybe not real data, but certainly a real chart. Let me stop the share for a moment. All right. Now, let me just start up again. Go to another chart. All this file will be sent on to you afterwards as well, just so you know. Okay, share my screen. All right. So the first thing I have here, all right, is that is this an Excel sheet I see before me? Yes, it is. So I'm going to go back to my old ding dong. I feel sometimes like, somebody goes on and on about this, but the importance of, proper data. So what does all that mean? No blank rows, okay? No blank rows. No blank columns. All right. And you to a large degree have like with like. So once you kind of got that done, all right, so here you have this data here. Once you have it put it all together, the next step you need to do, all right, is that you need to select the data. All the data and nothing but the data. So if you kind of want to get a little picture of Judge Judy beside yourself when you're doing this, this is what you do. Couple of ways to do that. The first way is to come up here and select it like so, all right, which is one way to do it. However, another way to do it, all right, is if you click here, and you see I have a little keyboard shortcut here which says Control, Shift, and 8. So if I click in the data, I press Control, Shift, and 8, that actually selects all the data there for me, right? So that's step number one. All the data, nothing but the data. Make sure the headings are in it. If the headings aren't in it, Excel has no cop on. It will not know that in fact you want to, that you actually want to do a chart. So click up here and then go to Insert and Recommended Charts. Now the version of Excel I'm using is Office 365, but if I remember rightly, I think this feature here, all right, this feature here has been available in Excel since 2013. That's, version 2013. So I go here to Insert and I go to Recommended Charts. All right. And Excel will say, according to your data, I think this would be a very good fit. If you kind of imagine that you go into a good clothes shop and somebody says, try this on and see what it looks like. So I'm going to be ultra lazy and pick the first thing it suggests to me, which is here, click OK. And hey, look, the chart, just like that, all right? So once you have your chart done, a couple of things to bear in mind. First of all, if you want to change the style of it, all right, when you click on the chart, you get this ribbon up here, and you can sort of a try before you buy kind of effort. And you see there, as I rest the mouse on it, like these, it's like one of these, these programs that you sometimes see with architects, where they'll actually say, can you see the art in the room? Or do you want to try the art in the room? So this is kind of the same kind of idea that you can say, okay, yeah, let me see what it looks like, right? I always am a little bit wary of the really black ones because I think them going to the printer and so on. So that's where you can change the style of it. You then have the second option here, which says change the colors. And again, you can kind of say, all right. So if you had your colors done, you could even say, I will have my chart matching my colors. Okay, there's blue, these other ones down here. Right? So you have a lot of options just within that. And I'm going to pick my favorite, Excel green, to lash onto it. Okay, that's number one. Now, I'm sure the eagle-eyed among you have noticed, right? That over here to the right of my chart, I have 3 little icons, right? So the first one says chart elements. Okay, so if I go here and if I want to add something to my chart, this is where I can do it. So I can go here, click here on my chart labels. And again, if you just rest your mouse on it, it's like you can kind of say, I wonder what it looks like without kind of committing to it. All right. Data tables, lash in the numbers there. Error bars, I want to add in more grid lines. And again, if you notice here, you get a little triangle pop out. And let me just move my screen around here. See there, you can add different lines in the background, changes automatically. And if you want to add a trend line, what do you want to base the trend line on? And it suggests books to me. I'm going to say, and see there a little broken line on it. That's number 1. Number 2 on this icon here is basically the same as what I've just shown you up here around the chart styles. See there, the different chart styles. Okay, and the second one here is the color. All right, so basically it's the same kind of, there's an overlap there of the 2 areas in it. And the third one, okay, when I can click here, is if, for example, I say, I just want to see books, clear the select all box, tick the box for books, tick the box for books, yes. And down here, don't forget to click apply. Those of you who are familiar with filters will know filters happen automatically, not on a chart. It's like you have to say, are you sure? Are you really, really sure? And I say, and I click on apply. All right, you can see it narrows it down to that. And then if I say, I've had a change of cart, I'll go back up here to select all, tick them all, and then click on apply. That gives you kind of the little flavor of your charts. Now I'm just going to go back here again. Remember my trusty friend, Control Shift and 8, which is written on the chart here as well, to select your data. And when I go up here to insert, I have my recommended charts, but also to bear in mind, you also have a number of other different charts here as well. All right, so this is worth kind of having a look at. I will mention one other one as well, which is what I call the spark lines, or I like to call them the baby charts. All right. And if, for example, I go up here to line, or I might choose column, and it prompts me for a data range, and I just highlight the 2 of them here, and I click OK. Hey, oh, look, there is a whole plethora there of little, see there, like baby charts. You know, a little chart for every single entry that's there. Okay, so that's my charts. I want to touch, I'm keeping an eye on my time here, all right? The second thing I want to touch on, just before I kind of wrap it up, is there's another kind of really nice feature here. I'm going to large data sets. This is not really a large data set, but it'll be enough to give you a flavor of it, is that if you, for example, if I click the bar charts here, these are all kind of like smaller data sets, all right? So not too many. But if you had a larger data set, notice you click here, Control Shift and 8 to select it. Data, all the data, nothing but the data. Insert. And if I go to recommended charts, I just want you to notice what happens. Okay, click here and then I click OK. Right. And you see here, what it does is that it actually says, oh yeah, that's a whole bunch of data. That's a large data set. You need to create a pivot table for that. All right. And for those of you who are saying pivot table, what's a pivot table? If you, this is something I'll be covering in a later snack, probably I think towards the end of next month. Basically, it is where you summarize your data. Or the analogy that I like to use is, for those of you who watch Breaking Bad, where he kind of crushes the RV and it goes from a large vehicle to a small vehicle when he needs to get rid of it. Okay. Now, that is essentially my charts. And even though I said I wasn't going to do any pie charts, I thought, what the hell, I will live dangerously and do a pie chart. So there's my pie chart recommendation. Click on it, Control Shift and 8. Remember, all the data, nothing but the data. Insert. And this time, instead of going to recommended charts, because it's a bit sniffy about the pie charts, I'll tell you the truth now, a bit sniffy. And I will actually choose a pie chart from here, choose the pie charts, there it is. And if you want to add percentages, just go up here and choose one with percentages on it. I'm a great believer in that any problem you've had with a chart or anything else, the chances are somebody else has had the same problem, right? And somebody else had the same problem, and there is probably a solution there. So you see your percentages are done. So for those of you who kind of were sitting there saying, but I would have loved a pie chart, that's just to all keep you all happy. Now I'm going to stop the share for a moment. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on the time. We're down to about 4 minutes. All right, stop the share for a second. Normally at this point, I would ask if anybody's got any questions, but because there's so many people here and I want to keep it in the 20 minutes, if you have any questions, you'll have my email address and you can drop them to me afterwards. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the share for a moment. All right, and I know you're all struck by the beauty of Excel, because that's what Excel does to people. And the last few minutes, what I'm going to do is just touch a little bit about the upcoming Excel snacks, and also about a course that I'm planning to start in April. All right, so just up here to this one. Okay. All right, so here we are. There we finished with Judge Judy. That's where we kind of finished on a knife edge with Judge Judy. We'd had a demo. Okay, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about the upcoming snacks that I have, all right, because I know a lot of you are kind of busy people. Okay, so this one here, they're always going to be at Friday at 12:40, 20 minutes before lunch, right? The next one's going to be on the 12th of March, 2021. And it's going to be about getting a color pop, also known as conditional formatting. Right. The next one is going to be on the 19th of March. A list, my kingdom for a list, or why data setup is crucial. Okay. It's the bit that's always forgotten about. All right. And if you kind of understand that, that'll actually go a long way to sort a lot of your Excel issues. 26th of March, it's a pivot table, okay, but not a pivot. And why are they, and why should you care? Right. I do remember once I had a gentleman in one of my classes who said to me, the world of work runs on two things, pivot tables and PowerPoint. People get data from a fancy system, get it into an Excel sheet, put it in a pivot table, and it goes into PowerPoint. That is actually quite true. Okay. So all the details of that and where you can register, if you want to register for it, I'll send in the email after this. And just here, I just want to talk a little bit about the upcoming course that I have. All right, it's called Excel for the Reluctant Learner. All right, so if you don't know anything about Excel, it's going to be recorded, it's virtual, you can do it from home in your pajamas. It will run over 5 evenings from 7 to 8:30 p.m, 90 minutes, will be recorded, and it's aimed at what I call the Russell Crowe learner. Right. So the Russell Crowe was asked once when he was on the red carpet, why are you here? All right. He wasn't asked, he wasn't asked who was he wearing, because nobody would ask Russell Crowe that. Because that's who he was wearing. He said, because I'm contractually obliged to be here. So there's a lot of people, I do Excel because I have to do Excel. Somebody said to me it's good at Excel. And this course is about kind of making it easier for you. And charts will actually be one of the modules. And again, I'll send you details about that in the email at the end. All right, so I'm just going to stop the share for a moment. All right, so we have about 1 minute left. All right, if anybody wants to come off mute quickly for the 1 minute we have left, I'd love to hear any quick thoughts off the top of your heads. Otherwise, like I said, I do the 20-minute thing. Any quick comments?
I love how simple and fun you make it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne.
You're welcome, Magda. Some people are leaving already, which is a good sign. Oh no, somebody's here already. Right. Okay, ladies, gentlemen, it's coming down to the 35-second countdown. All right. So if you have any questions, all right, or anything else, or comments or anything else, I will send those. You'll have an opportunity to reply to me in the email. But like I said, I want to keep it on the 20 minutes. It's it's lunch and a snack, not 3-course meal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, mind yourselves and take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice weekend.
Night too. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.